and welcome everyone. This is a new episode of Score Sheet. As usual, we do have plenty of sports items to discuss in our press review. As usual, we do have a distinguished guest, so I hope that this is going to be a very special episode. But before we start, maybe it's going to be one of the very few times I start my episode with something that far from sports. But I do have two things. First, condolences, and second, an apology. Condolences to all the Russian people over the 224 passengers who died yesterday when their plane crashed in Sinai. Our condolences on behalf of all Egyptians, our condolences to the Russians, whether on the leadership level or on the people's level. Number two is an apology. An apology to the head of a state. Many of us were listening to him today when he was speaking in a speech not directed to a special sect of the society, but to all of us. And he was not that happy with the media covering the events which are taking place recently. Not because I'm working in the state television, but as an Egyptian citizen, on behalf of media persons. Mr. President, we apologize. We apologize not to be that fit for the mission. We apologize not to be that fit for the surroundings. We apologize not to be that bearing in mind or taking into consideration how much we are suffering, and we should step forward and think in a positive way. That's it. Back to sports, to my favorite issue, to the field I think that I'm good at. As I said before, we do have a very special guest. A special guest not because he is only that much talented or he is the member of our national team in basketball, but because he has a lot to tell. So many hopes, ambitions, ideas, stories, despite the fact that he's still that young. But we do have a history of basketball walking onto Omar Orabi right after the short break.
Omar, first off, happy birthday today, and you got some great news that you're cleared to play this season. What was the transition like coming from Rice to USC, and how has it been working with Kevin O'Neill as a coach?
It's been great so far, and like my teammates and the coaches and all the coaching staff here, they made my transition way easier than I thought it would be. They helped me a lot, and my teammates, they made me feel very welcome, and they welcomed me into the team, and I feel now that I'm part of a family, and I feel very close. Although I haven't been here for a long time, but I feel very close to my teammates, and they've made it a lot easier than I thought it would be, and also the coaching staff and all the staff here.
You've played on Egypt's junior national team and also on FIBA's 2009 World Championship team, and you were very successful over there. How has that experience built upon what you're going to bring here to USC?
It was a great experience. I mean, it was the first time I go against it was against the best players in the world, basically, and we played against Team USA, who ultimately won the championship, and they were the top college players from the US. So it was great, getting to play against a higher level of competition than we're used to back home. So, and it helped me, it made me know what to expect when I come to the US, when I come to play in college here, and it helped me get ready and know what I'm going to be facing here when I come to play here.
And the season opener is this Friday. What are your expectations for that, playing for the first official time here at the Galen Center?
Yeah, that's actually my first time. I haven't played any scrimmages or anything yet, so it's going to be my first time playing, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to play with my new teammates, and I can't wait to start helping the team now that everything else is taken care of, so I can just now focus on basketball and focus on winning a championship.
Do you have any personal goals for this season?
No, I don't have anything personally for me. We just want to, I just want to win. The whole team, our ultimate goal is to win a championship, and that's what we're all playing for. No one, we don't play for any personal achievement.
And you've played in college basketball for 2 years for Rice. Did you have any, pre-game rituals that you're going to bring here to USC? Or you're going to start over fresh?
No, I'm going to start everything fresh. I'm going to forget about everything that I used to do.
Okay.
A new number and.
Welcome back. This was Omar, and this is Omar. Omar, hello.
Hi, how are you?
You're very much welcome, of course, in this episode, and I know that you are going to make it special.
Thank you.
First, Your story with the basketball, when did it start?
I started playing when I used to play swimming at the beginning. That's how I started, how I got into
Sports in
sports. Yes,
general?
that's how I got
Yeah.
into sports. And then, but I really liked basketball. I used to watch people play at the club, at the Gezira club. So then my brother and sister, they bought me a basketball for my birthday when I was young. So I started going to the club and playing by
How
myself.
old were you by then?
I think I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
So I started playing by myself at the club, and then one of the coaches saw me play, and he asked me to join the team because he saw that I was taller than most of the players. Yeah, and that's how it started. I joined the team in Gezira Club and just went on from there.
You mean that only the team in Gezira Club was the main reason? I mean, the players there who attracted you to join. But I mean, not NBA players, not watching TVs, not being interested into some even of the Egyptian basketball players.
No, of course. That's how I started playing. But my love for I used to love basketball, and that's, of course, I used to watch NBA all the time. When I was very young, I used to watch the older Egyptian players when they played in the league here. And
Why I'm asking this question in specific about the Egyptian players, because
yeah.
okay, I'm sorry to say that, but I'm too much older. And so I was a fan of basketball, knowing well who was Midhat Warda, who was Sarawa, who was Amr Abul Khair, who was Al-Ittihad of Alexandria, to be accurate, who formed even or had the lion's share of our national team by then. But this golden generation was much older than you. And because of this, I don't think that you have models for that, or what you had were just ideas or just impression or just stories about this generation, but you have not seen them in person. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen any of these players play. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch them play in person. But of course, like you said, I've heard about this golden generation of basketball that used to go to the World Cup. They played in the Olympic Games. So yeah, I heard a lot of stories about them, but I didn't get a chance to actually see them play.
So your role models are not Egyptians.
Yeah. Well, growing up, I used to watch more of international basketball in the NBA. So yeah, my role models were players like Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal. Those were the players that I used to watch and that made me love the game.
LeBron James?
Well, LeBron James was more recent than these players, but when I was young, it was these players that were playing.
The Jordans?
Yeah, Michael Jordan, of course, but he wasn't my same.
I said the Jordans because I think that many of his family are playing.
Yeah, his sons are playing now, but
so
yeah,
the Jordans.
yeah. But of course, Michael Jordan is the best player that ever played basketball. So of course, any basketball player looks up to him.
Again, why I'm asking this question, because there are names which we cannot say or we cannot doubt their talent, but the tactics, the styles, the ways, stuff like that, you may be closer to one of them rather than the others.
Yes, of course. That's why I mentioned the players I did, because those players play in my same position, which is a center. So that's why these are the players that I looked up to, that I watched them as they play and tried to be like them, because those were the closest thing to me, like being able to be these players. But Michael Jordan, he played in a totally different position, so I would never play like him. So that's why Shaquille O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon, those were the two players that I watched closely and tried to copy what they were doing.
In the journey of a life, there are turning points, and there are certain times you would say, I'm going to turn to be a pro, or this is going to be my career, or this is going to be my life. When was that, if it happened?
Yeah, it did happen actually when I was playing with the junior national team. We had the African Championship here. It was in Egypt, in Alexandria in 2008. And we won that tournament, and we qualified for the World Championships in New Zealand.
You know someone here?
Yeah, these are the highlights from my USC games.
When was that?
That was in 2014.
Last year?
Yes, last year,
Yeah.
2013, 2014. That was
Okay, 2
my
years
last,
ago, you
yeah,
mean,
my
something
last
like
season,
that?
my last season in college.
I'm sorry for the interruption, Omar.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we qualified. We won the African Championship. We got the gold medal, and we qualified for the World Championships in New Zealand. It was in 2009. And while I was playing there, a coach, he's called Marco. He watched me. He saw me play over there, and he was an assistant coach for the college I went to. So he watched me play, and then he started contacting me to go play basketball in the US. And he offered me a scholarship to go play there and get my degree from there. So that's when I started thinking about basketball as a profession rather than a hobby. Like I
Yeah.
started thinking of becoming a professional basketball player and having it as a career beyond college. So yeah, and then it started, like the journey started from there. I went to the US. I started.
What you had in mind? What the same what you've got when you went there?
No, of course it was totally different. Yeah, this like basketball in the US is a totally different story.
Style
than,
of life.
Yes, than anywhere else in the world, not just Egypt.
Yeah.
It's even different than Europe because basketball over there is like everyone is crazy about basketball. It's the #1 sport over there in terms of people going to the game, in terms of the money involved, in terms of fans and all that stuff. So
It's
and
an
also-
industry, to be
yeah,
accurate.
it's a
Yeah.
whole industry with everything, and even the level of play and the level of the players over there, it's totally different than anywhere else. It's much more physical.
According to what? According to the way they're treating basketballers, I mean, to take it as a style of life, as I said, to start from a very early stage, to take it in a professional way since the very beginning, to what?
Yeah, they teach players over there to start. I mean, they don't teach them. I mean, they take them from when they're very young and they start teaching them the game. So when they grow up, they have a better foundation, and they focus on all the little skills and all the little stuff that maybe not most of what other people don't see. So by the time a player gets to high school or gets to college, he's ready to play anywhere. So
If you want to say anything about that, would you please go ahead? You have the mic.
Video, yeah. No, I mean those some of the best days of my life playing in college and playing in front of.
Inshallah, they're going to be
Yeah,
repeated, and
inshallah,
you are going
hopefully,
to
yeah.
live much more happier,
Hopefully, yeah.
much more happier lives.
Hope.
Days. I mean,
Yeah.
you are still that young, and you know
Yeah.
that you're going to return back and to practice your hobby and
Yeah,
to
hopefully.
be such a pro. But let's elaborate on what you have just said.
Yeah.
My happiest days.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, as you can see how what the court looks like, all the fans, how much people are watching the game. It's just a whole different experience than playing anywhere else. Like people are crazy about basketball over there, like I said. So
And it was really touchy in the first video when you were speaking to one of your teammates, or I think she was a reporter,
was a reporter, yeah.
as you said, in the college you were studying in. You said that you felt since the very first moment that you were surrounded by family,
yeah.
that you were treated this way.
Yes, that's the other thing, that when I went to USC, the second college that I went to, they were people there are the hospitality is great. They treat you very well. They make you
Feel
it's just
home.
like I said, yeah, they make you feel, they know, they really understood that I'm from very far away. I'm from a different country, from a different culture, that I'm not used to living in the US. It was the first time for me living in another country. So they really took that into consideration, and they made me feel like home. They made me feel like one of them, and just the whole feeling of being one team, that's very big over there. They make you feel, we all feel like we're one, not different individuals playing on a team. We feel like that we're all a family, just like I said.
Yeah, and now you are a member of our national team.
Yes.
How? Tell us the story from the beginning.
I started with the junior national team, like I said, when we went to the World Cup, and then I traveled. I went to the US for 4 years. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play with them while I was in the US because of the different schedules, and
Yeah.
I couldn't come back to Egypt that much because of my classes and my the basketball season over there. So, but I was still in contact with them the whole time. I was in contact with people from the federation, and they were always telling me that they were wanting me to come back and play for them. So as soon as I finished college, that was the first opportunity I got this year to play with them. Actually, it was last year, but I got injured, so I couldn't play with them in the...
Injured?
Yeah, I got injured in my back last summer.
Was it serious?
No, it wasn't serious. Alhamdulillah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't serious. So, but I couldn't. It was right before the World Cup in Spain, so I had to miss it. I couldn't play there. So the first opportunity for me was this year, this last summer. I played with them in the African Championship in Tunisia and the African Games in Congo. So that was my first experience with the
And how was
national.
it?
Yeah, it was a great experience too. It was different. Like everywhere you play, it's a different experience. So that
Omar, I'm not going to ask about the differences between the standard of players or the tactics used or the way of the coaches, stuff like that. But whenever it comes to you as a player, have you found yourself that easy integrated into our national team, or feeling this harmony or coherence that easy, or it took some time?
No, in the national team it was a little bit easier because I was already used to that when I went to the US. The transition from Egypt to the US was a much harder one. So coming from...
This part of your training course?
Yes, these were my workouts before the NBA draft last year. So yeah, the transition from Egypt to the US was a much harder one, but then coming back
vice versa is not that difficult.
Of course there I gained a lot of experience and I played with a lot of great players actually, and I played at a very high level. So coming back, I felt that I had so much to give back to my national team and to give back to my country. So it was easier for me to transition back to Egypt and play with the national team than it was to go over there.
Was it easy just to understand each other, just looking at the eyes? I mean, I used to play basketball, and whenever it comes to team, if you have this harmony, if you have this mutual understanding, it would be that easy. Have you found this?
Of course, yeah. That is a big part of that is up to the coach. The coach builds that chemistry with the team. He chooses which player, like he chooses the players that play with each other at the same time on the court, and he chooses the plays that we run so that each player would play to his strengths and like do the best that he can. So yeah, I think that we had very good chemistry, and especially we're all from the same country, like from the same culture and stuff, so it's easier to communicate with each other and easier to deal with one another. And we all knew each other from a very long time. We were friends, and we played. Some of us were teammates, played on the same teams and stuff. So this is a big part of the chemistry, like you said, because this is a very important thing in basketball, like to have good chemistry and good harmony.
And as I'm always saying, by the way, it's not only about the physical fitness, it's about the mental fitness.
Of course.
Whenever it comes to someone who want to be something or who want to have a step forward as a pro, his mental fitness should go parallel.
Of course, mental strength is I think it's even more of a factor than physical strength, because it doesn't matter how strong you are, how much muscle, like if you have a lot of muscles or all that stuff, because when I first went to the US, it was really a mental battle between me and myself of like being able to live there away from my family, away from my parents, away from my country. And especially
when exactly was that, Omar?
It was in the end of 2000. I went there September 2010. So like 4 months later, the revolution happened in Egypt.
This was my coming question to know how were you feeling about that, and how you, of course, whenever you're Egyptian and all the Western media were speaking about that, by that time, you've been asked all the time what's going on there, are you with or against, stuff like that. And I think that this was another story of your life. So,
especially that it happened so soon. I wasn't even used to everything over there yet. I had only been there for 3 months, and I was still like trying to get used to everything over there. And then this happened all of a sudden, and there was no communication with Egypt at all. It was the time when they cut all the phone lines and all like the mobiles, so I couldn't even reach my family. I didn't know if anything happened to them or anything. And of course, all the Western media, what they showed on TV over there was
totally different than what's going on underground.
Everything was on fire.
Till the moment, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Everything was on fire. Everything. I felt like we were in a war or something, and I couldn't even contact my parents to ask if that was true or not. So, but then
Such hard times.
Yeah, I stayed almost for a week, I think, without having any contact whatsoever with Egypt. There was no
I
internet.
think this was the longest week in your life.
Yeah, and I couldn't
Yeah.
that was the mental part that I was talking about. So, and that was the hardest thing being over there, and everyone's asking you what do you think and what's happening over there, and I couldn't answer them because I had no idea, and all I could see was all the Western TV channels. And later I found out when I was able to contact my parents and talk to them, they told me that this wasn't it wasn't as bad as they made it seem over there. And
but it continued this way with the Western media.
yeah, of course, until
the
today.
outlets all of them, I think, they are all the time exaggerating, saying. By the way, many of them were saying even that people cannot walk by night in the streets of even Cairo. And whenever there's an explosion, they were saying that we are all terrorists and stuff like that.
Of course.
I mean, how have you faced this?
Yeah, I think the media over there, all they want to do is show the Middle East in a very bad state or in a very bad position, and that's not true. So I felt that I had a responsibility on myself to be like an ambassador for Egypt and show people like how Egyptians are and what Egyptians are like, because
Egyptians and Muslims, because we cannot deny that the so-called Islamophobia
yes, of course.
was
and I
was
suffered
and
a lot.
still there.
Yeah, and I suffered a lot from that. I had some problems with that when I was there, and so I felt the responsibility to show people how Muslims are like, how Arabs are like, how Egyptian, like the whole Middle Eastern culture and religion and everything. So I felt that I had to show people that we're not, that we're not as bad as they make us look like on TV.
But it worked.
Yeah, I hope it worked. Yeah, I hope, because
Since you were telling me just before being on air that you were planning to return back, and you do have plans and you do have hopes. As I said in my introduction, we do have massive ambitions here walking on too. So he has a mission to do here, as he is now a soldier, a conscript in our army. I know he's proud of that. I am too. And right after that, he is going to return back to continue the journey he started. Muhammad, I want to have a break, and then we are going to let Omar have the mic and speak in details about his ambitions to return back and what he exactly want to do and want to have. welcome back. Omar, returning back to the States, and as far as I know, it's not only you. The dream of any basketballer is the NBA. So you have the mic.
Of course, like you said, any basketball player playing anywhere in the world, their ultimate dream is to play in the NBA because that's the best league and best level of basketball in the world. And that was obviously that was my dream when I started realizing that basketball is going to be my profession. That was my dream to reach the NBA. But at the beginning, I didn't really feel that it was very realistic or that I could actually do it. But then when I actually went to the US and started playing in college and played against players and then saw these players that I was playing against playing in the NBA, that's when I actually realized and really thought that I would be able to make it to the NBA. And
It's not a dream, it can be a process going on.
Of course, the dream started to become a reality in front of me and started to be something, like I started to think of it as something that I would be able to achieve, not just a dream that's very far away. And I started to work with that mindset, with that thing in mind, that this is what I want to reach and this is where I want to be eventually. And it changed everything. It changed the way I practice, the way I work and everything. You have to work harder. You have to give all the effort that you have, give 100% every single day.
And is your family supporting the idea?
I mean, of course.
Okay, I am a mom and a little bit traditional. And when it comes to my son, and he's graduated from such a college and he studied economics, so he should think about his future or his career, both sides. If you want to be an NBA player, this is great, of course, but this is not going to last forever. So you should have both in mind.
Of course, that's why. My parents, first of all, my parents really support me in my sports career and like in becoming a professional basketball player. But there's also the other side, like you said. That's why I went to a very good college in the US and I got a degree, because some players over there, most players in the US that go on to play in the NBA, some of them, they don't finish their college degree. They leave college early to go play in the NBA. And I had that chance and I had that opportunity to leave after 3 years and go play in the NBA, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get my degree because, like you said, basketball has a limit. You can't play basketball. You can't play basketball your whole life. So you have to have plans and start. I haven't actually made, like, I don't have something like a set plan in my mind, but that's what I have to start thinking about as I play basketball right now. It's going very well, but I have to start thinking about what I'm going to do after my basketball career is over. And that's why I have a degree that would, if I wanted to do anything, then I would be able to do it with that degree.
Between you and Nile TV international viewers, it's not between you and me. I mean, if you want to say that, it's okay. If you don't, I do have the respect to just say that I'm not going to answer.
Okay.
Many of those who were that much successful outside Egypt do not think of returning back. And they would say that if I'm good there, if I live great, if the standard of life is that much higher, if I'm going to start a life or a family there, it's going to be great. Why I'm going to think to return back to Egypt? Since my family is that much supporting me, they can come and see me and I can just pay them visits. But I'm going to stay there.
No, that's definitely the furthest thing away from how I think. I love Egypt and I'm very patriotic and the only reason that
this has nothing to do with patriotism.
No,
Ahmed Zouil is patriotic.
No, I know, but
he's an American citizen.
No, but I'm not. This is not how I think, and this is not what I want to do. And my family knows that, and all my friends know that. And I don't want to spend the rest of my life in another country. If I'm going to travel overseas and be a professional basketball player, then this would be the only purpose of me traveling. But I wouldn't stay beyond basketball.
Guys, I am not going to spend the rest of my life far from my country. I love the sentence, and I really appreciate the way he said it. Despite the fact that it was not my expectations, but when he said so, it seems that we do have a lot of hope when it comes to our youth. Omar, thank you.
Thank you.
Omar, are you interested in other sports or it's only basketball? I mean, are you following the football, whether inside or outside Egypt, or it's only basketball?
No, I follow everything when it comes to sports. And my mother used to like tell me all the time. When I was at home, when I was young, I used to watch any kind of sports.
Ahli or Zamalek?
Ahli.
Great. Real Madrid or Barcelona?
Real Madrid.
Bayern or Borussia Dortmund? Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund?
Bayern Munich.
Okay, no comment on one of them, but no problem. Permit me, dear viewers, to discuss with my dear guest, Omar, some of the headlines we have, some of the main banners which were published to tackle the sports arena in general, whether inside or outside Egypt. This is our quick press review because we do have a lot of banners. And we are going to start with Al Ahli. Al Ahli sideline Gabon's key player Ivona from Project Match squad. Of course, it ended 1-0 for Al Ahli. But I intended to focus on that to know the reasons behind this sidelining of Ivona. Despite not being injured, Al Ahli striker Ivona has been sidelined from the 20-man squad for the game against Petrojet. The Cairo Giants Portuguese coach Pesero has also dismissed Ivona from his team squad for Sunday's game due to technical reasons. Ivona's dismissal is for technical reasons. Abdel Hafiz told reporters, those were his statements. He doesn't suffer from any injury that could keep him out of the squad. You know, what was said that he doesn't have this sense of commitment and he gained a lot of weight. How do you see this? I mean, whenever there's a pro and he is not that much committed to the team or the club he is working for.
That's the biggest problem any professional player in any sports could face. The biggest thing you have to do is be committed to your team, and because this is like your job. If someone works outside, if someone doesn't play sports and he works, that's like your job. So you have to be committed, and you have to. And your body is this is what you play with. So you have to like keep it in good shape and everything. But I really don't know any details about this matter. So, but I'm sure.
No, I know the details, but here I wanted just to have your idea about that.
Yeah.
I mean, your impression when you hear something like this.
No, of course, it's very sad to hear something like that from a very big player and from a very club like Al Ahli. So
to another big team and another big name, to Al Zamalek, since we were talking about Al Ahli. Ferreira's job remains under scrutiny as Zamalek I win over in Intag. The future of Portuguese coach Gesualdo Ferreira remains under scrutiny as Zamalek would be looking to make up for a disappointing draw, a scoreless one at Aswan when they face Intag El Harbi. Here, I'm not talking about the results of Zamalek. Here, I'm talking about this way of thinking, just to have the coach under this pressure, not to know whether he is going to continue or no. How do you see this?
I mean, when a coach takes a job, he knows that he's going to be under pressure, and he knows that he must produce good results in order to keep the job. But I don't think that one game should make that big of a difference because this is the league, and there's like 30 games, I think, or something. So.
I mean, you as a player, when you do have many coaches, I don't think that.
Of course, that's another thing. There has to be stability. There has to be stability in the team for the whole team to have like one system throughout the whole season. That would be better for the team, but having a lot of changes is not that good.
Taking you to the Pharaohs outside Egypt, just like you, Egypt's Coca scores first Portuguese league goal in Braga's 4-0 win. Egypt's in-form striker Coca scores the opener for Sporting Braga, and Ahmed Hassan Coca continued his rich vein of form after netting the opener in Braga's 4-0 victory over Belenenses. I do not know how to pronounce this in Portuguese, but okay. And this was on Saturday. Taking you to another pharaoh outside Egypt, who is Al-Muhammadi. Egypt's Al-Muhammadi scores in Hull Championship win. Egypt's right-sided winger Ahmed Al-Muhammadi scored the opener in Hull City's 2-0 championship victory at MK Dons on Saturday. Congratulations, man. Taking you to Salah, Kuka, who were called up for Egypt's World Cup qualifiers. Egypt will kick off the 2018 Cup qualifier bid against Chad on the 14th and 17th of November. The Egyptian national team will combine 5 foreign-based players for Chad games in their African qualifiers opener for the 2018 World Cup. The Pharaohs will play in Chad on the 14th and 17th of November. And the 5 players are Italy's Roma winger, Mohamed Salah, Switzerland Basel midfielder, Mohamed Nini, Portugal's Braga, Ahmed Hassan Kuka, Saudi's Al Ahli winger, Mohamed Abdeshafi, and Greece's Penitolikos midfielder, Amr Warda. Amr Warda is Amr Midhat
He's Midhat Warda's son.
Yeah, Midhat Warda's son, but he preferred football
preferred
rather than
football,
basketball. Taking you to those ambassadors, as you've said, ambassadors of Egypt. How do you see the experience of being a pro outside Egypt?
It's great, and I want to comment on one thing, that it's great to see a lot of players playing outside of Egypt and having success too, because it's, as you said, the Western media doesn't portray us in a very good way, so it's up to people like us, people like me, and like the players you mentioned, when they go overseas and they play professionally, they show the world how we really are. So it's great to see these players having success over there and then coming back to play with their national team and giving back to the country.
Al Ahli star Ghali to appear in Egypt's squad. Egypt national team's assistant coach believes Ghali deserves to be called for the coming camp. After his super performance with Al Ahli in Egypt's Super Cup and the start of the Premier League, veteran midfielder Hossam Ghali is close to wearing Egypt's national team jersey. Do you think that he deserves?
Of course, I think he has a lot of experience, and I mean,
he's Hossam Ghali.
Of course, Hossam Ghali is the captain of Al Ahli team, and I mean, when you have experience like that, it's something you really need, especially when the team has a lot of young players. So you need someone that's very experienced like him.
This was my question, because I'm trying to implement the same concept on different sports.
Yeah.
When it comes to someone like Hossam Ghali, and of course you can mention other names whenever it comes to basketball, someone to be that much experienced and that much a leader on the pitch. I mean, for example, when it was time for Mohamed Barakat and Mohamed Abu Trika and Said Maawad to go out of Al Ahli, people were saying that, oh, who is going to be the maestro? Because Mohamed Abu Trika, whether we agree or do not agree with his political views, he's such a talented person. And when he was there, he would be the maestro of the team. To what extent this is important for the players playing on the ground?
I think it's one of the most important things. You can have a team that has the best players in the world, very skilled, and like they have the best skills and everything, but they don't win because they don't have someone, they don't have a leader, they don't have that figure that brings them together, that makes them play as a team. You can have people playing selfishly, everyone thinking only about themselves. But this is where a leader comes in. He brings the players together, he makes you play as a team, and he has, plus, if someone is old enough that they have a lot of experience, they've been in situations like under pressure before, they've been in hard situations, so they know how to lead the team, and how when it comes in like tough games and close games, they know how to make a team win.
And let's go right to Real Madrid, simply because he is such a Real Madrid fan. And when it comes to this team, the royal team, then it's Ronaldo. Ronaldo scores 13th goal of season as Real Madrid beat Las Palmas. Well, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 13th goal of the season as Real defeated Las Palmas 3-1. This was on Saturday to remain on top of the Spanish league. Your role model in football?
Yeah, I mean, how can you hate a player like that?
I don't.
He scored 13 goals in like 9 games or something. So
Tell you something.
Yeah.
There are Messi people and there are Ronaldo people. And you know, when it comes to Real Madrid and Barcelona, I think the main winners are the fans.
Yeah.
Watching real football.
Of course. And we're lucky to live in this generation to watch like a player like Messi and Ronaldo play against each other. We're lucky. It's like watching Maradona and Pelé play against each other. So, like you said, the fans are the biggest winners from a competition like this and from a rivalry like this. And yeah, so I think we are very fortunate to witness these players play.
Yeah, let's continue with such a very small part for to be dedicated to my dear guest. The win at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium keeps Madrid in the lead with 24 points. From 10 rounds, Barcelona can reach the same amount of points when it plays at Getafe later, but the Catalan club trails on goal difference. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
And let's end our press review with returning back home and with saying congratulations to El Zamalek, to their handball team, which crowned African champions after win over Club Africain. Egyptian side El Zamalek crowned African champions for the 9th time in their history when they comfortably defeated Tunisia's Club Africain 35-22 in the African Champions League final, which took place on Friday in Morocco. And we do have another El Gezira club, but a handballer, Youssef Ashraf. Youssef, hello. Youssef, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Youssef, I should say first congratulations to all the handball players, and to witness this triumph is a story of success.
Yes, sure.
You have the mic.
Yes, sure. Congratulations to all Egyptians actually for this achievement. Zamalek has been representing Egypt in handball for many years in Africa. This is no surprise, and Zamalek has always been the leading club in Africa in handball. Also, we'd like to not forget the Alexandria Sport, who was in only his second participation in the tournament, got to end up in 3rd place after beating Tunisian Taraghi in 3rd and 4th.
Espérance de Tunis. Yeah.
Yes, it's a big achievement for them as well. And hopefully it will be a good sign for the African Nation Cup here in Egypt in January. And best of luck for the Egyptian team.
Who was the man of the match? Ahmed Lahmar, or do you have other options?
I don't think we can disagree on Ahmed Lahmar, but I think there's also many players we should
Karim Hindawi.
Mamdouh Hashim and Karim Hindawi have played massive roles in the tournament all. And also the other teams, the other Egyptian teams who have been supporting Zamalek in the tournament, like Alexandria and Al Ahly team, was send their congratulations and their support for the Zamalek team in the final. I think the whole Zamalek team had a very good day at the final, and they showed how the Egyptian handball is superior in Africa. And
Youssef, do you think that this is going to be a start to regain the golden generation of the 1990s?
Yeah, I think Zamalek now is rebuilding his team of glory, and they're doing a very good job. They have all the support of the administration. They have all the funding they need. I think it's a very good step to be back on the glory road of Zamalek, and hopefully they can continue on that next couple of years as well. They could retain their key players like Ahmar and Hindawi and Mamdouh Hashim. They might be able to continue their run of
And we are expecting a lot from them. Youssef Ashraf, thank you very much for your input, and congratulations once again. Omar, I think that you do have friends in our national team of handball.
Yeah,
if you want to congratulate them.
Yeah, of course, I want to congratulate. He was actually with me in school, Mustafa Sadiq. He's in the Zamalek team as well, so I congratulate him and all his teammates. Of course, it's a great achievement for El Zamalek team and for Egypt as a whole. And it's going to be a very good step for our national team with the African Championship coming up in January, and it's going to be played in Egypt, yeah, inshallah. So that's a very good step for them as a preparation for the championship.
And the draw ceremony was great, but to choose Algeria as the first encounter. Anyhow, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I'm going to leave you with a promise to see you again in another episode of Score Sheet.
Thank you. Promise.
By this, we come to the end of this very special episode of Score Sheet. Till we meet again, same time on Nile TV International. On behalf of Dr. Omar Orabi, Amr Fathallah, our staff of Studio 35, myself, Nermeen Abdurrahman, many thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum.